You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Every great legend begins with a story, but the fantasy worlds that stay with us long after the final page aren't built on magic alone. They're forged through history, shaped by sacrifice, enriched by myth, and carried forward by characters whose journeys revealed that destiny is often far greater than they ever imagined. Within the world of the Legend of Kyyden, ancient civilizations, forgotten truths, and powerful forces converge to create a fantasy universe where every discovery opens the door to an even larger mystery. Rather than revealing all of its secrets at once, the series invites readers to explore its rich lore one chapter at a time, rewarding those willing to venture deeper into its ever-expanding world. As Issue 2 prepares to launch, the journey continues with new challenges, greater stakes, and another step into a carefully crafted epic. For creator Jesse Wolfe, The Legend of Kyyden represents more than an independent comic. It's the realization of a long-term vision built through thoughtful world building, original storytelling, and a commitment to creating a fantasy saga that grows with each issue. With the Kickstarter campaign for Issue 2 on the horizon, Jesse continues to expand the universe designed to captivate both longtime fantasy fans and readers discovering Kyyden for the very first time. The next chapter is almost here, bringing new challenges, deeper mysteries, and another opportunity for readers to journey further into the world of Kyyden. As independent fantasy continues to find its audience, stories like this remind us that some of the most ambitious worlds in comics are built one issue at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. Jesse, welcome to the USDN, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Whew, I went a little long on that one. Got me out of breath reading the intro. Oof.
I'm doing my job then.
Dude, that was a fun intro to write and to read, by the way. But Jesse, before we dive into the Legend of Kyyden, I would love for you to tell everybody about you and the person behind the pages, just about your journey into storytelling. Was there a particular comic book that kind of got you into this? Just who is Jesse?
Well, Jesse is avid video game player, reader, and of course writer.
What are you playing right now?
Right now, I'm playing the remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics.
I'm playing the remaster of Black Flag.
I gotta get that still.
Yeah,
The
definitely
original
gotta
was great.
get that one. That one's
I heard the remake is very good too. So I'm trying. I got a huge backlog, so I'm trying to just get through my backlog first, then I get new stuff.
Yeah. I'm through mine finally. That's why I'm able to start playing this one finally.
Yeah. But yes, I actually work in a college. That's my day job, doing education stuff. And on my weekends and anytime I have off, I'm doing this. I'm writing. So I actually started off with writing novellas in college. Yeah.
Nice.
I was in Baruch. I was like, I believe it was either my last year or second to last year. I was working the job there. It was in the library. I was like fixing printers and stuff. And I was talking with my friend who worked there too. And I was just talking about like my ideas and like just I had a lot of stories in my head. I just never really thought to write them down. And then my friend said, well, why don't you write them down? And I was like, why don't I write them down? So there you go. Started with that. So I started making novellas, just random stuff I thought of in my head, just writing stories. And then over the years, that was like back in I think it was like 2014, 2015. And then like I started publishing, just self-publishing, giving them to friends, doing little small events here and there. And people that were reading them were saying, you have a very visual writing style. Why don't you do a comic book? And I'm like, I can't draw. How do I do that? So then I started that journey. I started, figuring out like what it takes to really make a comic book. I read comic books growing up, but I wasn't like, I would say super into them. I did like the mainstream stuff, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, that stuff. Then I lost touch with it for a little while. But then I was like, that suggestion came to me and I'm like, how would I do that for someone who doesn't draw? So then I figured out, how do you write in a comic book style, like doing dialogue and like putting out like scene descriptions and all the stuff you need when you work with an artist. Then I found an artist originally through freelancer.com where I did my first 2 stories because the Legend of Kyyden is actually my 3rd series. Okay. I have 2 other ones from way before. And then I found out that my cousin wanted to be a comic artist and I'm like, okay, so we're going to work on this 3rd one. So that's me and my cousin are doing Legend of Kyyden.
Oh, that's really dope. You're able to bring in family, make it a family thing. So that's really cool. And so now that I know that, like you've had the chance to kind of watch him grow as a artist. How has that journey been for you getting to watch him kind of mature and become an artist?
Oh, it's been wonderful. He's very good.
Yeah.
Even before we started doing the comic book, like I always liked his writing, I always liked his drawings and things like that. And then like he went to school for it. He went to like either North Carolina, he went to I forget the name of the school, but he went to one of those schools, art schools down there. And like first we started with the prologue issue, like his style, like with each issue it grows. Like it gets better. He gets more, confident in his style and it just like, really shows off on the page.
Dude, that's really cool that you're getting to work with family and getting to watch his journey as an artist at the same time. That's really cool. And this is the first time that's happened here on the podcast to where we have a cousins working on a book together and you're getting to see his artistic journey kind of like grow as the book, gets developed with this. So that's really cool to get to see that and hear you tell that story. So walk us through a little bit of the philosophy and introduce Kyyden to the world.
The philosophy is that I wanted to make a fantasy story that everybody can kind of see themselves in. Like media these days, like they have all different kinds of characters, yes, but a lot of the ones I see, like they have people that are like put into a checkbox. Like they have the token black person, the token gay person. Like, there's a token person that's just there for just that. Like they don't have a full personality. All they are is that. And I wanted to reach out from that. Like I wanted my characters to be actual characters. It's like, yes, maybe they're black, maybe they're gay, maybe they're trans, but that's a part of their character. It's not all that they are. Yeah. So that was the philosophy I wanted to start with. And then I started from there and I wanted to create an actual world around that. Yeah. So I'm like, I like fantasy stuff. Like, what kind of world that I can create that organically can have these people in it? It doesn't feel like a tag on or an add on just to kick off a checkbox.
Dude, that's freaking awesome, man. I love that. That was the best answer ever. Like, that was like, oh my God, how do I explain this answer? Like, I've not heard it put it that way before, and it is absolutely amazing. I love that. Representation matters in all of comic books, and to hear you say, I developed my characters, and then I built a world to put my characters in is something I absolutely love to hear. And right on, man. Dude, that's great. That's a clip right there if I've ever seen one. But so as the creator, how much of Kyyden already exists beyond what readers have seen? I know we're coming up on issue 2 in October, Are there histories, kingdoms, characters waiting for their moment that they have not seen yet? Or is it one of those where you're kind of like you're building this world one issue at a time as well?
Actually, how I create stories is I start with the characters, then I get the beginning and the ending. So I know how it starts and I know how it ends, and then I fill in the middle. So I already have I haven't written it all down yet, but I have it all swirling in my head, first full story arc.
Okay.
So there's going to be a bunch of characters being introduced issue to issue. I've already started with issue 3. I know that's going to be my main lore dump issue. It's also going to have the action in there, because what Legend of Kyyden is, it's a fantasy action comic. So I want to make sure every issue has a good action scene in it. That's a big thing for me.
Mandatory.
But also, there's going to be world building. You're going to build a story around that as well. So it's going to have a big lore dump from the beginning, and it's going to have its action scene, and it's going to extend out, and it's going to keep going like that issue by issue. So I have up to the end of the first story arc done. Okay. In my head. Writing it down, I still have to do, and then making it into the document that me and my cousin work with. Like I do the actual layouts, the dialogue. Like I want 6 panels in this page, or like 3 up top, 3 in the middle, 3 whatever. And then I put it together, and then I give him a little bit of creative freedom. Like I let him do his thing.
You have
first.
to let the art breathe, right?
Yeah. But then I'm like, if it really goes against my vision, I'm like, okay, we got to change that. But like, if I see something like I didn't think about it that way, that's cool. I let him keep it, leave it. Yeah. So yeah, I've got a bunch ready. It takes a while. It's just the 2 of us. We both have jobs too, so like we do this on our spare time. So it takes a long time. We're not like a company that just does this all 24/7.
Dude, that's all of us in this business, man. Yeah. Even myself, I have a day job I go to. I wish I could just sit at home and edit and do these things and put out better episodes for people. A higher quality. I mean, I already put out really good quality stuff, but I want to take it to a next level. And yeah, I know exactly how that feels. And all of us working in indie comics, man, we feel that in our bones, because we got to be able to make stuff, and we got to be able to do what we do. And you got to have a day job to do it. Yeah. We got to eat, and we got to have a roof.
And also fun's making the comic,
Exactly.
Like, because I'm all about supporting the artist. He may be my cousin, but I'm also paying him. Like, it's a job for them. So I'm like, because I don't care, family, friends. Like, if you're doing art for me, you're gonna get paid. It's just that
100%, 100%. But so how do you decide when to answer a mystery versus letting readers continue to speculate? Because as you write a story, mysteries are naturally going to happen within the story. Do you kind of let those marinate in your stories, or do you kind of like wait for it to get a couple of panels over and then like kind of like give them hints? Or how do you typically handle that type of events or writing, however you want to say it?
Oh, I tend to let them marinate for a little bit, but I do like sprinkle hints here and there. Yeah. Like, because in the first issue, like this word Kyyden keeps being thrown around, and like no one's telling our main character what it is. Like they're alluding, they're talking about the responsibility that comes with it, but no one is telling him what it actually is. Like you get to learn more about that a little bit more in issue 2, but you still don't know exactly what it is yet. Issue 3 is where you find out what that really is, and how that goes about, and what that means for the story. And because a lot of people sometimes, if they're not like reading carefully enough, they'll think the main character's name is Kyyden, and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, upon like anytime you see something like that, you immediately go, oh, he's your main character. And this is the perfect transition point for even the richest worlds needs someone for readers to experience through. And for you, Dimitri serves as the introduction to this universe. What made him the right character to carry readers into Kyyden? And we just answered a couple of questions for people out there right then.
Yeah. So basically, he's almost as new to the world you're about to find out as you are, because he's lived this very sheltered life. He's in this like hidden forest area due to stuff that happened way in the past. Read prologue. And because of that, like he's been very sheltered. He's lived this very peaceful life, peaceful people around him, but he also knows he's had a bit of a bigger, what we call it, legacy ahead of him. Because though he doesn't know the full reason, like his father has been training him since day one. His mother has been teaching him things since day one. In the more important people in the village, like the older ones, the higher ups, they know what the real situation is, and they know he has to be ready. But there's also this thing of they don't want to tell him exactly what it is yet because they still also want to have him still have a bit of a childhood.
Yeah.
So it's this toss up between getting him ready for what needs to happen and still letting him be, himself, a kid.
Yeah. No, and that's to me, that's very important. No matter who you are, where you are, even in our real world, let your kids be kids, but also prepare them for the world ahead of them. And I love that you're doing that with your character. But without spoiling issue number 2, how does this next chapter challenge him in ways readers may not be expecting?
Well, he's always been surrounded by the people that loves him and around him. Now he's by himself. He had to leave. He's on this he's been to a part of the forest he's never been to before. He's seeing a world that he's never seen before. Mm-hmm. And he has to navigate that by himself. So he has to figure out what he's doing, who he can trust, who he can't. And he's going to run into someone that may or may not help him. We'll see. Yeah. But he has to navigate that. And then also come into realization of what the power he's been trusted with actually is. Because in issue 2, you find out what that power can do for him.
Okay, that's really cool, man. And you put it perfectly, because it's one of those, and I love these types of stories too, because this kid has this great, he's sheltered, but the people around him love him. They're preparing him for the world, and then he's in it. Like he's, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, gullible, all the words you can use to describe a young man entering the world after living this type of life. It's him. He has all these vulnerabilities. So he's going to tend to be a little bit more trusted of people in the beginning until he kind of learns, not everybody can be trusted. So, dude, that's great storytelling right there. I love to see that kind of stuff. But every new issue is an opportunity to expand not just the story, but your own growth as a creator. So every creator learns something after releasing their first issue. What were those biggest lessons that you took from issue 1 into now creating issue 2?
Well, one, I did take the feedback because my original issue, I was doing the lettering, and people would say, it's okay, but it could be better. So I took people's criticisms to heart. I looked it over and I'm like, you know what? Right, I could do a bit better with this. So I fixed it. Now the issue you saw has the new lettering, the proper lettering. Uh-huh. So that is, what we have going forward. I've showed it to people. People like it. They say this is what they feel like it should be like. So I'm like, I can take criticism so long as it's constructive. I can look at it. 100%. I can say it. Okay, you may have something, because the other word bubbles and stuff like that, they were bigger than they needed to be. Yeah. And it's just they were taking up more. And it's hard when you're first. Yeah.
When you're first getting into this and you're learning your own style, because you want to be your own style. So you also have to study other people's style, and you really don't know until you put it on paper the first time yourself. So really, it's a learning curve, and a heavy learning curve. And I'm glad that you kind of took that constructive criticism and go, okay, got it. I am now going to apply myself and make this better.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's also I've learned how to take criticism and take what I feel could be improved, and things that are actually my style that are just no, this is the style. Mm-hmm. This is how I want it to look. Because some people don't like the fact that the colors are a bit more vibrant and saturated. But I'm that's the style that I want. It's a fantasy book. I want the colors to be vibrant, to stand out. So you may not like that, and that's, your prerogative. I understand that. But this is my style, how I want it to look. So I'm going to keep it that way.
And that's what's amazing about fantasy. You can have a dark fantasy where it's, dark colors, the dark purples, the blacks, the dark reds, the dark oranges. And then you can completely 180 that and have this rich, vibrant world like Kyyden, and it be that way. There's no right or wrong way to tell a fantasy story. It's literally on the creators of the book on how this is going to look. And that's what's great. It's an independent comic. There's nobody telling you how or to do this or how not to do this. It's how do you want your world to look? What do you want to see on the paper as the creator of this book? Is this the book that you yourself want to read at the end of the day? And those are the biggest things right there. But when readers finish issue number 2, like, what do you hope they're talking about at the end of this issue?
That's a hard one without giving things away.
Yeah, no, that's always a difficult question.
Well, it does end on a bit of a, I guess you could call it not really a cliffhanger, but like oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I kind of want people to start talking about that last panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it right there.
Yeah.
And it's always the last panels, man. Like, or the last page or the very last panel where something like, oh shit. Like, and then if people are smart, they're going, hey Jesse, when's that next volume coming out?
Exactly. Also, if you like, when you're going through the issue, like, you can kind of see hints of something is coming up, but you don't. So, but if you're not really looking for it, you won't really pay attention to it. So,
see, that's why I always tell people to pay attention when they're reading panels, and when pay attention to the art, pay attention to what the words are actually saying to you, because there's always really, if you're a good writer or a good artist, you're dropping those little Easter eggs throughout the issues, and you just gotta have that eye. You just gotta have that eye for them.
Yeah. It's something that's not going to pay off for a while because it's later on. But even something happens in issue 1 that is going to come up. And if you think about it, that you can tell that was the catalyst for why that thing happened all the way back in issue 1. So I'm putting hints early.
Hey, no, that's the way to do it, man. And I love stuff like that where I get to issue 8 of something and I'm like,
wait a minute.
Wait a darn minute. And you got to run back to your box of comics and go, okay, where's that one volume? Oh, here it is. And you pull it out and you're like, right there, it's right there. And then you run back over here and you're like, we knew the whole time. And that's always fun for me. I love those types of things in books. And I wish more people did them the proper way. Some people, there's plenty out there where you can go, oh, I bet it's this. And it's exactly that, right? But when you know how to drop those seeds into the story, and then when that finally pays off, and there's not everybody's going to pick it up, but there's going to be just enough people pick it up to go, oh wow, he did it right there, like that. He planted that seed back in issue 1, and here we are on issue 5, 6, and it's paying off big, and oh my god.
The continuity is very important to me because I'm always going back. When I'm making my issues, I'm going back to the old issues so I can pull back from what I do to make sure I'm doing it correctly. So
you got to have a good notebook.
Very important to me. Yeah.
You got to have a good notebook or a good notepad of, your big continuity things. Or
I have a lore document.
Oh, there you go. The Bible of your book, as they say. And I've seen people whose graphic novels and stuff, like, they pulled out a binder, like one of those oversized binders that was like this thick, and that was their Bible to their 3-issue graphic novel. And it was like, no kidding, like this, and then it was like this long, and it was a hefty boy. And I'm like, we got to the end of the episode and we were already off the live. I was like, hey, you can't just pull out that Bible and at least, show me a couple of pages in it,
Sure, a little bit.
Exactly. And they did. They were cool about it. And they're like, you could just never say anything to anybody. I'm like,
silence.
This secret is mine, because that was really cool. But so getting a comic into readers' hands is only half the journey. The other half, of course, is building a community around it. And you built more than a comic here. You've crafted JW storytelling with a website. You got YouTube, Patreon, Substack, social media. How important has all that been how important has it been to think beyond simply just making the comic books? Because a lot of people, they just want to make the comic book. they don't want to do the cog of the wheel, because the comic book is only this much of it. And that wheel is a whole lot bigger than that comic book.
Yeah, because I would actually prefer to just be doing the comic book as well. But when you're your own person, you have to be your own marketer, your own hype man, your own everything at this point. I love my cousin, but he is just the artist. He does not want to do the rest of that stuff. I totally understand. I don't want to do it honestly either. But if you have a story you want to share with people, you have to get it out to people. Yeah. So in person, I go to conventions. I do tabling. I sell it there.
Yeah.
There's.
I see. You sent me like the pictures you had sent me for the to use on the thumbnail later. It is you at conventions, so you are out there putting the book out there for people. So that's really cool. And I always like, what have been some of your favorite conventions that you've had the chance to go to sell your book?
Oh, I love the Brooklyn Independent Comics Show. It's one of my favorites. Undiscovered Realm. I go there every single year. I went there just June. Another one happened this June. Okay. I always sell really well there. People really like my stuff over there. So it's something I do every year over in White Plains. Okay. What's another one I go to? I go to two I go to all the time. And then there's just random stuff I go kind of pops up here and there. But those two are my mains. So there's that. There's social media, friends, family, coworkers. I pimp my book out. You're gonna read my stuff.
Dude, I love that. And I wish more people would do it that way. Farmers market. It's a cheap and effective way to kind of get it out there to people.
I'm also in some local comic shops. I know some local comic people. So
that's what I was about to say. Some of the local comic shops. And my last trip to New York, actually, I went to a couple, and they were the big ones that they do all the celebrity events at. Just you hear so many, and you see it so often, and you're like, I gotta see this one place because I know they just had it was right after they did the Captain American sign-in with I can't remember his name now, but the new Captain America. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm like, I'm going to be there next week. I might as well just swing through and see the place. And it's on the second floor and third floor of a building on the corner of a busy intersection. Yeah, Midtown. Yeah, Midtown. And I was just like, this alley smells like freaking piss and vomit. I was like, they have celebrities in this place constantly. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is a one-time thing for me. And I'm like, I ain't going back.
I go to Forbidden Planet, Silver Age Comics, Everyone Comics.
Planet,
yeah. Those places.
Yeah, no, next time I'm up there, I'm definitely Forbidden Planet is the big one I want to go to when I get up there next time. And was it Golden Apple? I think is the other one. Is it Golden Apple? Something like that.
I don't know Golden Apple.
It's the other one. It's the other one across from Midtown. It's close by there, but not quite. It's going away from it.
Sure about that one.
I can't even remember the name of it. Somebody's like, oh, you should really go check out this one. And I'm like, how long is a bus ride in this traffic? So, but no, it's cool that you're getting it out there to people. And really, I wish more people would do these smaller, the flea markets, the farmers markets. I wish more people would do those because those are huge assets for people that I don't think get utilized enough. Your local library is another huge one that I wish more people would use. And I know there's a few libraries around me that they do their own little comic book thing every year. And been invited to a couple of them. I just hadn't it's the worst Saturday of the year for me. And I'm like, why is it gotta be this Saturday? I got this thing. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, the ones I get invited to some too, but it seems to always be when I have a convention. It's I'm gonna be out of town. I can't go.
Yeah. This year lined up really good for me because I'm going to be able to do Small Press Expo in Annapolis, Maryland this year. Come home for a few days, circle right back up to Baltimore and do Baltimore this year. And it's great, dude. Like, this is going to be my first year, where I get to take USDN as a media company,
Nice,
and go do like the press thing finally. And that's 2.5, 3 years of just me doing this, and plugging creators, plugging publishers, and doing this at a high level to where like burnout levels.
recognizing you.
Yeah.
Also, people recognizing you now. So,
but now it's like, okay, like I sent the email, I walked away, like, okay, if I don't hear back, cool. Another year down,
exactly.
keep cooking. And,
I remember one of the like, it was one of the highlights of one of the shows I did. I was just sitting there selling my books as I do, and then someone came over to me and said, "I've seen this before," and I'm like, "Where'd you see it?" Like, I've seen it online. Like, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time anybody actually like didn't know me but knew me, from my stuff online and my books.
Yeah,
like that was a highlight. That means my name's getting around.
The first time it happened to me was trunk or treat. Every trunk or treat, I pre-order. Actually, I need to do my pre-order for October's like free comics for Halloween for the kids, and I just order like boxes of them. And on Halloween at trunk or treat, because I don't do the candy thing at my house. I turn my lights off. Just y'all, leave me alone. Already did trunk or treat, and I give out comic books for kids, and I give out candy for kids on trunk or treat. And one of the parents was like, he's like, I've seen this before. I'm like, seen what? He's like, the logo. I'm like, really? And he pulls up his Spotify, and he like shows me. He's like, yeah, I listened to this. Like, I'm like, what? Really? So it was really cool to like, just a random parent's like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, cool. I'm like, that is like,
it's the dream right there.
Yeah, it's like, finally, this works, But for independent creators today, I don't know if I asked you this one yet, because but do you think building the community is just as important as building the book? I know people would be like, oh, it's the book, because you can't have one without the other. I'm like, what's your thoughts on that?
I would give the book slightly more credence, but both are important. It's like only slightly less important, but you need the community. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're making a story just for yourself, then the book is all that really matters.
Yeah.
But if you're making a story that you want to share with other people, then you need to build the community. Yes, everybody who makes a story partly for themselves. It's because of the story they have in their head and the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
But unless you just want that story to live on your head or your shelf, no one looks at it. You need to build a community to enjoy it with you.
Perfect answer right there, man. I like it. I mean, it's really the community that makes the crowdfunding possible for all of us in the game. So issue 2, launching on Kickstarter in October. What has you excited the most about bringing readers back into Kyyden and doing this once again through crowdfunding?
Right now, I would say the video we're putting together, the trailer video.
Oh, nice.
Like, there is a little prelude on the pre-launch page right now, but we're getting the full trailer. Like, it's in the works right now.
Nice.
So that is, I'm looking forward to sharing that with people and just sharing what's happening.
Are you doing it yourself, or?
I'm hiring someone to do the motion animatings, because I can't do that. But I also hire voice actors. So there's actually voice actors for the speech bubbles and what they're saying. So that's going to be there. Yeah. And then I'm going to add like a little, video at the end talking about welcoming people back to the story. And, it's going to happen. What's going on. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then just sharing, what's going to happen next. Sharing the characters that's going to pop up. Yeah. The cool transformations, all that stuff.
Dude, I love it, dude. And I was on your Kickstarter page when you had sent it to me. And I love a very well put together Kickstarter page. There's nothing better where you could just see, like, because it's in pre-launch, it's not all there yet, but you could just see the seeds of the great. Yeah. And it's just like, you're like, oh, as soon as this is done, it's going to be great. Because it's
That's what it is.
I've seen some really horrible ones. I've seen some really nice ones, and I always tell people, I'm like, if you need a set of eyes on your Kickstarter before it goes live, I'm 100% available to do that. That is just one of those things. If you have questions or you want another set of eyes on your Kickstarter before you launch it, hey chairman, can you have a look at this real quick and just shoot me the link and I'll give you my honest thoughts. If there's something that looks weird, out of place, I will let you know. I'm honest with you. I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, it's the greatest shit on earth. Like, no, if it's not hitting where you think it should hit, I'm going to let you know it's not there. But for someone discovering the Legend of Kyyden for the very first time, why is now the right time to jump on board and support with issue number 2?
I would say it's because things are really starting to ramp up. So you're still gonna get like every issue gets like a little in the beginning, a little like I guess a synopsis of what happened in the last issue. Okay. You don't get the full breadth of everything, but you'll get the main crux of what happened, so you can be on board for what's going to happen with issue 2. You're not going to be completely in the dark if you don't get the first issue or the prologue or anything like that. So you're going to get introduced to the wider world. And you're going to get introduced to the power system.
Okay.
You're going to see that really cool action scene. So
you're going to have a legit like power system built in for the characters.
Yes.
Like a D&D
but this
style?
Is the first introduction. I wouldn't say D&D style. It's a little more simplistic than that. But it does have, it has its basis that's easy to understand, but then it goes deeper in. Because it's like, I would give a little bit away. It is elemental based.
Okay.
But people kind of use elements in very certain ways. Mm-hmm. And while there is there as well, like there's a deeper version to elements. Like elements are not just, I guess you could say, for a little bit of a preview, there's fire, like a fireball. Mm-hmm. People can control fire. But, a person's internal body also has heat.
True, it does.
And he doesn't just control fire, he controls all fire.
Okay. Legit. There we have it, folks. A little scoop for everybody when they're listening later. I like it. No, those are always cool, man. I love stories with that kind of stuff built into it. And don't it's not overly complicated until you get into the later episodes. But by that time, you're so used to how the system is. So when it goes a little deeper, you're like, oh, that's so much cooler. And it, you start to understand the deeper stuff within it. So you're not losing nobody in the beginning going, oh, that's complicated. What's that? You start them out up here and then you dig the hole with them to get more in depth with the system. So that's really cool that you're doing it that way. Well,
also, something else I wanted to just posit is that because for the first issue, I ended up getting more younger readers than I thought I was going to get. I'm also doing I'm basically doing a split version. So there's the standard version, which is going to be my full story, unedited. So, it's going to be stuff in that. But I'm also doing a version that is for like 12 and up.
Oh, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also going to be selectable on the Kickstarter. So for those that are younger readers, like, more harsh curse words will be censored. Blood will be not gone, but less.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. There won't be any nudity or, too risque subjects or anything like that. But in the main version, well,
fair game. But it's cool though that you recognize that you were getting a younger audience than you expected, and you flex to it. And instead of going, hey, no, this isn't for you, you instead chose to go, oh, I have, teens and preteens wanting to read this book. Let me cut a version of this book that is specifically for them, and then you got your 18, plus readers over here. And that's really cool that you did that, because I don't know of a lot of people who are willing to go that extra little bit to do something like that.
Yeah, like there are scenes that can be altered that doesn't change the main crux of the story. Yeah. So like no matter which version you read, the main story is the main story. It's just that you may get more context on a certain thing reading the regular story than you would the lighter story, because it's not for them to get that deep into that at that age.
I like that, man. That's legit. That's good marketing. as well, because you get to tap into two different audiences on the same book. So, I like that. So with the finish line coming up for issue 2, I know you said when we were talking earlier, you're about 80% there before the launch. I'm curious though, how far ahead are you already looking? What's the arc look like for you? And then when you get to that arc moment, are you planning to do a graphic novel of that first arc? Like, how are you looking at this, and how far ahead are you really looking?
So one full story arc that I have planned out already, that's probably going to be around 12 issues. I've been kind of maybe 12 issues.
That's a lengthy arc. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know how the trade paperbacks go. So once I hit 6, we'll get a trade paperback.
Yeah.
And then once I hit another 6, you'll get the real volume 2. But then once the full story arc is ready, I'm planning on releasing basically a book 1, which is just the full, from the beginning to the end of the story.
The full 12. So the first 2 arcs, essentially.
Yeah. Plus, of course, some extras that come with that as well.
You got to put a little something extra in the back for people, But no, that's really cool. And what made you decide to do a longer arc than what would people are standard? The standard arc is normally 5 to 6 issues sometimes, or 3 to 4 depending on the book. What made you go a little bit longer on that?
Honestly, it's just how the story took. I let the story guide me there, so that's what I wanted.
That's freaking perfect answer. It's just the way it turned out.
It's not my fault what the story wanted. We didn't know anything about it.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. It's what the story wanted. And I love when people say that, because it's so true. Like you don't know. You're writing one thing 1 minute, and the next minute you're like, but what if I went this way with this? And where would it go? And it is really cool that you kind of just let the instincts and what happens with the story happen with the story as you're writing it. So that's always one of the fun things about this is the independent comic. Yeah. Ain't nobody telling you what you can and can't do.
Exactly. I am the boss here, so you know what I want.
There it is. So when you think about Kyyden, are you writing this one issue at a time, or have you always kind of known where this entire journey is going to be headed? I know earlier you said the beginning and the end, and everything else is kind of like leading you through the story. So do you have that ending locked in right now?
Yes, I do have the ending locked in. And of course, the first story arc, as we talked about, that's been locked in as well. So I'm still trying to figure out how many arcs I want in between that and the end. That's the story's still evolving in that sense. But I do have some major events I've kind of got toyed in my head. I just don't know how long it's gonna take arc-wise. It's probably gonna be my magnum opus of my life. This whole book. This is gonna be my main source.
If it's gotta happen, it's gotta happen, right? And you have your cousin there along with you for the ride on the book. And I'm sure by the time we get to issue 5 and 6 of this book, the art is just going to be, a full evolution of his growth as an artist as well, you as a writer as well. So it's going to be really cool for people to get to experience that. The further they stay for the ride, the more they get to see you and him evolve together as this writing and art team. And you're doing the lettering. So that's even cooler that you're teaching yourself a new skill at the same time as well. So
I had to teach myself a lot of things. I had to learn the lettering. I had to learn how to to put it in Photoshop and turn it into a printable file. Then I had to work with a printer. This is a whole sort of thing you have to figure out when you're doing this yourself.
And nobody tells you that shit when you start writing a comic book. That's stuff like when you go to it's ready for the printer, and you go to send it to the printer, and the printer sends it back going, what the hell is this shit?
You got to flatten it, you got to compress it, it's got to be this size, you got to do this thing.
Exactly. And then that's the part I think that kind of is off-putting to people once they get to that stage of this, and they go, I got to do what? Y'all don't do this for us?
Nope.
No, they don't. You send that shit to a printer, it better be ready to go through the print.
Yeah, print ready is in bold. They don't want to do anything
Exactly. And I mean, if there's a printer out there who goes, oh no, just send it to us, we'll take care of the rest. Man, that is going to be a big ass print bill, because that's a lot of extra work. It's a lot of extra work if you've not done it before, but it's still, as you're teaching yourself how to do those things, that's a lot of work to learn, and mistakes that you're going to be made along the way in that, because they're going to send it back to you every single time you send it wrong. So
sometimes they charge if you have to keep having to fix things.
Exactly. So 5 years from now, what would success for the Legend of Kyyden look like to you?
Well, 5 years from now, I would just say having people talking about my book. I don't care if it's 2 people, 1 person, 10 men, 10 people, 1,000 people, 100 people. Just people engaged enough in my story to talk about it.
Yeah.
To find interest in it.
Simple. It's the simple things in life, right?
Ultimate goal is, deal some sort of animation or TV deal or whatever. But 5 years from now, just people talking about it. That's all. Like I want to know that it actually connected with somebody.
Yeah. I think all of us, at the end of the day, even me as a podcaster who gets to do this for a living and gets to talk to tons of talented people working in this industry from all walks of life. That's what we want at the end of the day, is whenever I have a good interview, for somebody to drop a comment, and just go, hey, that was a great interview. I really liked this part of it. And, his journey's amazing, and that's the kind of stuff I love, getting those comments on videos, because I know I was able to take that listener or that person watching through this fantastic journey of you writing and doing this with your cousin. So for me, I'm with you. People talk about it. That's what I want.
That's like, I'll just talk about it. When I hear that somebody's read it and they give me feedback, I'm like, they actually read it?
Right?
Exactly.
It's like, you want to say something bad, but that means you pitched it.
I know. Some people will just buy things to support you, but then when you find out they actually read it too, that's a home run. That's a home run right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's your new brother, and you didn't even know it. But let's have a little fun before we let you go, man. What fantasy world outside of your own cannot be the answer, has had the biggest influence on you as a storyteller?
Like, I take from a lot of different things I consume, so this isn't easy. Let me see. I would say, if I'm going to go with a comic fantasy world to start with, I would say Dark Knights of Steel has been a big inspiration for me.
That's a good one. How about from non-comic book?
The Wheel of Time.
Ooh, it's a good one. And this book, honestly, Wheel of Time and the D&D movie that just come out recently, kind of got a little bit of those vibes in it. And The Magicians. I don't know if you watched that show.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there for me too. And I love stuff like that, where it's like, I can get all these types of different vibes from the story. And it's like, oh, that reminds me of this one show, or that reminds me of this one comic book. And then as you continue to read it, you start getting these other vibes, and you're like, then you get to talk to you and go, hey, have you seen this show? Because your book kind of has those types of vibes to it. And
I'm at a video game, like The Legend of Dragoon. That is my favorite video game of all time. And it is a big inspiration for this book.
Nice. I just finished Ghost of Tsushima, quick turned into Ghost of Yotei, and then I bought the, of course, the Black Flag remastered recently. I just had not had a chance to, it's downloaded, it's ready to go. I just need to turn the TV on and do it, But it's the doing it in the time. Because I'm doing this. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, when I sit down and play, I can play. But it's just starting up. It's hard for me to start up.
Yeah.
I got so
Knowing
many
I
things I
have
need to be doing.
exactly, knowing I have stuff I need to edit still, it's the most difficult thing ever to do, because I'm like, I know I have stuff I need to be doing, but can I squeeze in 3 hours of this game?
Exactly.
Because I know if I sit down and start playing, it's going to be 3+ hours.
Yeah.
Or until the controller says, hey, dude, put me down and let me charge.
Exactly.
So, but where can everyone follow your work, support your Kickstarter, and stay up to date with everything happening within the world of the Legend of Kyyden?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on Threads. All handle for all that is at JW Storytelling. So search that, you will find me. I'm also, of course, on Kickstarter. Just search Legend of Kyyden. You'll find the current Kickstarter that's in pre-launch and the previous ones as well. You can find me out in the wild too if you're in New York.
But and all that's linked down in the description below. But Jesse, before I let you go, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to if there's anything else you want to say about the book or anything else, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to let you get that out there. So start now. The show is yours. Right.
Well, now that I'm the host, hey everybody. Thank you for listening to us talk about my book. This is a labor of love. This is really a story from my heart, and I'm just hoping you all connect with it. And like you find something of yourself in some of the characters. Could be heroes, even the villains. So if you like the villains, like a lot of people have been calling my main bad guy Eclipse like the medieval Darth Vader. If that works for you, yeah. He's there. He's gonna be, he's a central antagonist, so he's gonna be around for quite a while. So just check stuff out. Give me feedback. I take constructive feedback. If you just hate comments will be ignored. Just let you know. But if you have constructive feedback, I will listen. I'm open to that. And check out the Kickstarter. Check out the books. You can find actually the prologue issue free on Global Comics if you want to check it out. So, yep, I'm here. Write to me. Follow me. I'm around.
I love it. And all those links are actually down in the description below. So make sure you give him a follow and stay up to date on the Legend of Kyyden and all the great things that Jesse is doing at JW Storytelling. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Jesse for joining us today and to share the world of the Legend of Kyyden with us and the incredible journey behind building an original fantasy universe from the ground up. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, make sure that you support the upcoming Kickstarter campaign, explore the Legend of Kyyden, and follow Jesse across all his social media platforms. And for the Kickstarter, if you just hit notify me, it will notify you the moment this book goes live, which I believe is going to be sometime mid-October, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Perfect. So make sure y'all hit notify me so y'all get that notification. And again, all those links are down in the description of this video below. And if you enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single interview with all the great creators that we get to chat with here at the United States Department of Nerds. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the USDN Podcast, where indie comics come to life. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now adjourned. Y'all be safe and happy weekend for whoever's having a weekend already.
Good night.
It's a trap!